It's the Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. New Yorker. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 596. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
I am doing okay. How are you doing? We've been off for a little bit, Jay. How you been?
We skipped a week.
How dare you skip a week, Jay? I was here last week and just talking into an open mic with no one here. So I didn't skip the week. You skipped it.
Don't believe that for a second. Mark,
Happy 2023, Jay.
Happy 2023. I hope you enjoyed your fifth vacation of the year. So the
Jay, just like put in my vacation schedule right now. I'll be out in February. Is that okay?
Why not? Why not just take off every few weeks?
Since we last recorded, the Knicks, I think was our last show right after the Knicks had won their 8th game in a row.
Yeah.
It was around then.
Yeah.
The Knicks. I went on a little vacation. We didn't do a show. And during that time, the Knicks went on a 5-game losing streak in which not only did they lose 5 games, they also lost R.J. Barrett. They lost Jalen Brunson. And then the whole world fell apart. And now they have won 2 in a row, and everything is better.
Yeah. There was a couple like trade rumors going around. A lot of people are on board with it because apparently when you get 3 guys injured, it's unacceptable to lose any games, and then you should just blow up the team.
Is it weird that we were explaining losses like wins against other teams by going so and so is out and so is out, so of course we beat them. It doesn't really matter, and then teams beat us when 2 of our best players are out, and we don't even factor that in until it's just a terrible loss.
Yeah, the Suns. I don't know how many games they're going to win without Booker. They look. I mean, they need Booker bad. I guess Booker's better than I thought he was because they look like a G League team without him.
Booker's really good. So since last show, we had the 5 losses. We had the devastating loss against Dallas, and then the awful just getting crushed by the Spurs when you were hoping to have a rebound game. And if we recorded after they beat the Rockets, you'd been like, the Rockets are pretty terrible, so whatever. Watching the Suns today puts me in better spirits.
It did. Yeah.
Before we continue, can I make a public service announcement, a PSA?
Sure.
For all Knick fans on all social media platforms, and even if you're not on social media platforms, if you're wondering, hey, why won't Tibbs play Cam? What's going on? Cam could help us. Cam's amazing. We're never going to know the answer, but it's not just Tibbs. I can say for sure, it's not just Tibbs going, I don't like this guy. I'm not playing him anymore. Something else has happened. We're not going to know what it is, but Cam is not going to play anymore. Stop asking if he's going to play anymore. The next thing that will happen with Cam is he'll be traded, and that's it.
Yeah, he's not playing. That's it. I don't know. Nobody knows why, but he's not, and I think we just have to accept that.
The only thing we've heard was he asked to be traded, and after that, he's just sitting there on the bench, just not going to play again.
Did that come out that he has to be traded?
It was the rumor. I don't know where. I don't remember
because I haven't even seen that.
Well, you remember, he was asked if you want to be traded. Remember that rumor came out?
No.
You don't remember there being a rumor about Cam? Are you losing it?
I saw people assuming that, but I never saw an actual legit source saying.
Okay, fair. I don't remember where I saw the source, but I remember at least that rumor started kind of out of nowhere, or it started at some point, right?
Yeah.
And he was asked about it, and he said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't ask to be traded." Ha ha. And since then, whatever
that was a great impersonation, by the way.
I think I nailed it.
Yeah.
At least since then, he has not played. I don't know the story, but I hate after every game people are like, "Why is he not playing?" If every member of the Knicks team has COVID and dies, Cam will still not play.
Right.
It's over.
I guess once he's traded, and he will get traded, we'll find out what happened.
Yeah. And also, I want to add, it's not like we're not playing Michael Jordan. He's not that great. He was terrible on defense. He has some promise. I'm not sure why he couldn't be a solid bench player for our team.
Some people think he's a really solid defender.
He's that, but his career, like, he has the length, and every once in a while he plays good defense. But overall, of course, his whole career, he's been terrible on defense. He's always a negative on defense. And someone did on Twitter like a thing of highlights of Cam's defense, and there's so many plays where he's just so far out of position.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tibbs could have also got fed up with seeing his defense. I mean, the defense, the Knicks team defense improved immeasurably when he left the lineup.
And Obi.
And Obi, yeah. I mean, when you removed Obi and Cam, the defense went up so...
They've been number one in the
so
league
much...
since.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know what you think Cam adds if when the team doesn't play him, the defense is a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I think the knock is some of the lineups are really lacking in offense, especially when you have the bench unit out there. There's not a lot of go-to scorers, and now that we have a couple of injuries, the bench really has no score. I mean,
are you knocking
Fournier.
Evan Fournier? He's back. Fournier is back.
They dusted Fournier off. He doesn't look that bad. He really doesn't.
No, he looks fine.
I mean, it's not like wow, but like for the 10th guy off the bench, like it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the Knicks last year or last summer. They're like, here's $20 million a year. You're gonna start with us. We're gonna build our team around you. A year later, they're like, hey, we're not playing you. You're lucky you're getting a couple minutes to play tonight. Now shut the hell up.
Right. I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, people wanted Fournier off the team, but I kind of feel bad. He's kind of sold that he was going to be a big part of this team. So it's a little messed up to sign him to that contract and then be like, yeah, we changed our mind.
Well, he made that contract with Leon Rose, and now the new GM is Leon Rose. So, I mean, things have changed. I have to say one thing. Maybe behind the scenes, Leon said, let me call around or have my people call around. And they're like, Cam Reddish, you could trade him. We're going to figure out a way to get like something for him.
Mm-hmm.
Evan and his contract, you're not getting anything for him. And so he just said, okay, just go back to playing him. We're not getting anything for him. Whereas Cam, I want to make sure he doesn't get injured.
Could be. You brought up a good point offline. If Cam was that amazing, shouldn't the Knicks have gotten a bunch of offers and shouldn't he be off the team by now?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, the Lakers are interested in him, the Warriors, and so. No one's interested enough in Cam to give the Knicks anything for him so far.
Mm-hmm. And he's been eligible since December 15th, so it's not like it's been a day or two.
Right. All people have shown is that the rumors are if the Knicks want to give him away for free, some teams will take him for free.
Yeah.
But if you want anything for him, it might be a little harder to work out a trade. I still think the Knicks could get, what do you think his peak value or his value is going to be?
You think you could get like a really late first, like a top 20 protected?
Like a top, maybe a first top 35 protected. I mean, it's possible that you can get a late first. Maybe your team has like a protected first that they realize doesn't have a lot of value either.
Top 29 protected. If it doesn't convert, it'll be top 20 second round protected.
I'll take a high second. I maybe 2 seconds for him. I don't know. He's not playing, so you might as well take what you can get for him.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get an asset, if you're literally never going to play him, you might as well take whatever assets you can get.
Fournier, maybe you just keep playing him in this bench role, or like you just hold on to Fournier because if you want to make a star trade, you need contracts to trade.
Yeah,
and his $20 million cap hold is something that you would want to keep basically for a star trade.
It's really difficult to make trades if you can't move any salary at all, and you don't want to move like your top 3 guys.
And one of the tricks with the cap is to be over the cap. Your goal is to be over the cap, and you do that by resigning your own players and so forth. And Knicks are more than $20 million over the cap.
Mm-hmm.
If you get rid of the $20 million, you don't just get to use it again.
Right.
So you want to keep this cap space and convert it into something, whether it's part of an all-star trade or maybe some other team has another player that they don't want to play that would be more useful for us than Fournier. I don't know.
Right. If they trade a Fournier for a second-round pick, they're over the cap still, so they just lost $17 million in potential trade salary.
Right. Yeah, you don't have that salary. You don't have that salary to trade anymore. You don't have the salary to use anymore. You kind of want to find some way to use this better than just like you don't. If you trade Fournier for a expiring contract and a second round pick, you're not really using that like cap space wisely.
There's no urgency. He's not like throwing a temper tantrum. He's posting like motivational stuff. He's still cheering for his team. He's not sulking. So there's no urgency to like make a move just to make a move.
For all the crap people give Tibbs as being a coach, like he's telling guys you can't play, and they're veterans, and they're like, okay, I'll sit on the bench, and I'll just behave, and I'll be a good teammate.
Yeah.
He's keeping guys in line. It seems like the guys on the floor really want to play hard for him. I get he's not really a great tactician when it comes to offense, but he seems to get guys to play pretty hard for him.
I mean, he's a flawed coach, but I don't think he's so bad that he's got to go. I mean, I just think this roster is a decent roster, but not a great roster, and now they have a bunch of injuries. So like they're above 500, which is at expectations, maybe slightly exceeding based on the injuries.
Right. I mean, also early in the year, he was trying to fit guys in that didn't fit his mold. And so now that once he kind of switched to more of his mold with the players, like guys that really play defense, the team has looked a lot better. And also, yeah, you're right. Like if the team wins 44 games this year, how can you be disappointed with that based on the roster?
I mean, at the beginning of the season, everyone said they're a 500 team. And actually, that was mostly Knicks fans. The experts, quote unquote experts, ESPN and everybody said the Knicks were going to be terrible. So,
yeah, I think the number, like the over under was like 35, 36.
Yeah.
No one had a lot of faith in the Knicks. The Knicks are playing pretty. I mean, who knows how the season goes from here? But I mean, what's outside of winning? Obviously, the goal is winning.
Mm-hmm.
What else is the coach supposed to do? In the sense of like, what's their number two besides getting the W's? What's their number two job?
Develop players.
Okay, I was going to say get guys to play hard for them.
Okay.
Which is okay. Develop players also. I mean, I guess it's
I would say developing it goes hand in hand, but developing is more important. You could have a bunch of vets that play hard, but the team is going nowhere because they're going to be off the team soon. But if you have a lot of young guys that are developing, that you're actually taking the next step, I would say.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point, but I guess that roster construction versus like if you just have a bunch of vets and the coach is getting the most out of the vets, like
yeah.
But either way, so
we could just say getting the most out of the players on your roster.
Okay, so yeah, well, if you say let's say playing hard, guys seem to be playing pretty hard for him. Player development, Grimes seems to be getting better and better. People don't want to give Tibbs any credit when guys get better that are on the team. But if they play poorly, then he gets all the credit. But Grimes is getting better. Totally fair to say.
Yep.
Has McBride been getting better?
He has. He's been shooting a lot better. His defense was always pretty good, but he seems like he feels a little bit more confident, and it's showing on the court.
Is IQ getting better?
IQ, other than his shot, he's becoming a better playmaker. He had 15 assists the other day. That was career high. Yeah. His defense looks way better than it used to. So I would say he's getting better, yes.
And his shot the last 2 or 3 games has actually been going down also. What is Sims getting better?
Yeah. Sims, people like Sims. He didn't really look playable his first year. He looks like a legit player this year.
Yeah. Is Mitch getting better?
Mitch is definitely getting better. His fouls are under control. He's been a difference maker. I mean, he grabs so many defensive rebounds. Like, he just eats up rebounds.
So basically getting the most wins you can get out of a roster, or up there, Tibbs is doing. Getting guys to play hard, Tibbs is doing. getting guys to developing young guys or developing players. Tibbs seems to be doing. Drawing up a really good offensive plays or having a really good modern offense. Probably not.
No,
but he
definitely
also
not.
finally got a point guard just now.
He did, but he still doesn't seem to be able to draw up a play out of a timeout. End game situations or seems to be just like who's going to do ISO.
Yeah.
I feel like he could use a really good offensive assistant
Coordinator.
coach.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I don't know why they don't do that already. Like have someone, and maybe someone internally is considered a really good offensive coordinator, but like and Tibbs just gets the credit for lack of. It seems like they should have. Yeah, it seems like the offense should.
They
There should be more
Mike
creativity.
D'Antoni should be on the bench.
That would be nice.
Right?
But,
like, wouldn't he be the perfect assistant coach to draw up plays and stuff?
Yeah, I of course he would be, and I feel like this team would look pretty interesting if you go with the 7 seconds or less offense.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Still the most fun teams of all time, in my opinion.
yeah, super fun teams to watch. And Obi, I guess like people give Tibbs crap for Obi. I guess he hasn't developed everyone.
Yep, fire him. There's one guy on the team that hasn't developed. Gotta go.
So of the games that we missed, of the losses, the Raptors game was close. All the games were close except for the Spurs game. The Mavericks game was goddamn backbreaking. We haven't really talked too much about the Mavericks game. What was like? I was on my last day of vacation. I had we were in Vermont skiing. I had the MSG app. I watched the whole Maverick game, and I could not believe the ending was just goddamn shocking. What was your reaction?
Confusion because when there was 35 seconds left and they were up by 9, I went to bed. And then I woke up and everyone is like texting me like, what the hell happened? What is this? What is it? And I was like, why is everyone so mad? They just beat the Mavs. And I looked at the box score and I'm like, how the hell did that happen?
It was such a shocking outcome. They kept getting closer and hitting some shots, and you was like, okay, the Knicks are going to win by 2 or 3 points, and we're going to look stupid for how we almost blew the game.
Mm-hmm.
It never in my mind was like this is going to go to overtime. They were actually going to lose the game. It was unfathomable.
It was, I mean, I went back and I watched the last 30 seconds and I just could not believe what happened.
It was like I was like, is Reggie Miller on their team? I don't understand what happened here. The Doncic free throw when he had to miss the free throw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get if there's one guy on the other team that has scored all the points. Wouldn't you try to box that guy out?
Always, I mean, you learn in junior high, you box out the shooter.
It's just crazy. I think it was Grimes who was closest to him, if I remember correctly. I don't know how. I don't know how Tibbs didn't tell him you have to get your body in front. Don't even go for the rebound. You have to stop Doncic.
And it was still like a fingertip away from the Knicks winning. Like Grimes and McBride both went for the rebound. It bounced off one of their hands, and like it was like a fluke thing that if you replayed that 100 times, the Knicks win that, like 95 of them.
Right. It's not just that the Knicks like didn't get the rebound. It's that it went to one of the best players in the NBA perfectly, and he was able to get the shot off and go in. It was an absurd ending to a game.
Yeah.
And obviously they lost in overtime, but once you got to overtime, you knew the Knicks were screwed.
Yeah, no, you blew a 9-point lead in 30 seconds. Like, I probably would have turned the game off if I stayed for that. I probably would have turned it off before overtime, knowing that they're not going to recover from that.
I knew it was over. I was like, if the Knicks just don't show up for overtime, just don't actually literally show up, I'll understand.
Yeah. Like, you got us. I get it.
Doncic scored 60 points, had the craziest triple double I've ever seen one of the craziest triple doubles in NBA history.
It was the first, was it 60, 20, 15 or something like that? It was like the first one of all time. So
the one critique I think people were saying, why wasn't Sims out there instead of say McBride? And also Knicks, by the way, missed so many goddamn free throws at the end of the game. It was brutal. But the only reason I give tips is like obviously you want to get the rebound, but I think the thought was that if Sims gets the rebound, he's fouled. Sims can't hit a free throw for the life of him.
Right.
So I get maybe why he thought one with McBride, even though McBride couldn't hit a free throw either. But
I mean, that's a lot of people wanted to blame Tibbs, but they missed like 4 free throws also. So
There's
that's
a
not
lot that
coaching.
you can't blame Tibbs also for losing like 9 points. You're up by 9 with 30 seconds to go. That's on the players. You have
Yeah.
to figure out how to win that game.
Yeah.
The Spurs game was brutal. Just because you were like, we should get a win here, but every other game was close. I mean, sometimes you just shit the bed.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Siakam just went absolutely nuts. There's always like one guy that just.
No, you're
gets-
thinking of the Raptor game.
Isn't that what you said?
I said the Spurs. Oh, did I? I thought I said the Spurs.
No, you said the.
Oh, did I say the Raptors? I'm losing my mind. The Raptor game was close. I mean, the Siakam thing was Siakam. I think went to the line like 400 times in the game.
Yeah.
You know what was kind of cool?
Hmm.
I think the Spurs. The Suns today. Do you know how many free throws they shot?
It was really few, like 11.
They were
right?
they were 5 for 7 from the free throw line. The Knicks were 17 for 25. Their coach afterward was just like, it's really hard when you don't get to shoot any free throws, basically. He was like, it's really hard when Randall and Brunson each shoot more free throws than your entire team.
Yeah.
And I have to say, he's right in that respect. It's just nice to be on like the other side of a lopsided free throw. It's not like the Knicks shot 40 free throws. Like the 25 free throws is not crazy, but it's just nice to have this disparity work in the Knicks' favor for once.
Yeah. It's just weird. Like, the refs are so biased for star calls. It's just like Booker's out, and they're like, "You guys aren't getting any calls anymore." Like, sorry, guys.
So I'd say Randall gets obviously he's got 12 free throws today, so it's not a bad number, and he does get the line a fair amount. But do you feel like he gets star calls?
Every once in a while, but like, he also like tries to like foul bait and stuff. There was at least 2 3-pointers where he just like did this awkward like lean in thing, and I think the refs don't like that.
Yeah, that stuff annoys the shit out of me. I was just thinking, like, if you got Embiid level foul calls, where Embiid basically at every play, just like they're like, another foul, you're like, we're not allowed to guard Embiid anymore. The refs are like, nope, you're not allowed to guard Embiid.
Zion's like that too. I see him just barreling in with his shoulder down, and it's like, yeah, there's nothing you could do when he does if you're not going to call an offensive foul.
Right. It's really annoying when you're like Giannis is amazing, but if you're not allowed to play defense against Giannis, it gets even harder.
Yeah.
If Randall ever got that level of respect, it would take him to another level. That's the that would almost be like, how does Randall get better from here? The refs have to treat him like he's Embiid.
Here's
They
a
did
crazy
that.
idea. Why don't the refs call the game evenly for everybody?
That's impossible, Jay. I'm sorry. The star call thing is just going to happen because the refs are. I don't really understand why they can't do that. Do you
I
think
don't
they could ever replace the refs with like computers? Like have an algorithm, have like a computer system that just calls the fouls?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's too hard, but I feel like it's not as hard as the refs make it seem.
Right. Well, baseball, hit balls and strikes. You still have you have a person, you have an umpire, but you could really replace baseball with a ball like a computer, and you would. That would be better in some way, in some regard. Basketball, a lot of the calls are arbitrary, and you also don't want calls on everything. You don't want every level of contact to be fouls. But what if you could just have a computer program that basically kind of calls like, here's what the foul, and here's what you should allow, and they can go like, they can turn it up to easier or harder depending on how the game is going.
What gets me though is like when there's a star, they'll see the tip of somebody's pinky graze the star's jersey from halfway across the court. But when you're not a star, they miss people getting like basically thrown to the ground and like, I didn't see anything. And like, how can there be such a disparity? Like, I get giving, like in boxing, if it goes all the rounds, you always give the benefit of the doubt to like the defending champ. I get that if it's not clear, but like to just be completely biased and unfair doesn't seem like a great thing.
Yeah.
Like who's that fun for unless you have Giannis on your team? Like that's not fun for anybody else.
Generally, also, fans, no one wants to see a game with a ton of fouls. I mean, you want to see your team win, but like the Knicks shot 25 free throws, fine. I don't want to ever see a game where a team shoots 40 free throws. It's just a bad game.
Yeah. Like those Harden Houston playoff series.
Yeah.
Those are just brutal.
It's pretty hard to watch. Okay, so there's a couple of things like that have been going around, and I want to get your thoughts on them.
Okay.
So one of the things I keep reading people talk about, and I think a lot of Knicks fans was at MSG today. They were chanting MVP for Randall. He said after the game they asked him, they're like, "You've been playing maybe the best month of your career. What's the best part of this?" And he said, "Playing in front of the fans." And that was awesome. But you see a lot of Knicks fans also, or maybe a small minority or vocal minority, are saying, "Hey, you wanted to trade him last year, and now that he's playing well, you don't want to trade him. We need to get rid of him. We need to sell high. We need to get rid of him. He needs to go." What do you think, Jay?
I don't really agree with that. I think he was going through something last year, and it seems like whatever it was, it's over. Are you going to win a championship if he's the number one guy on your team? No, but why not get another guy to play with him instead of getting rid of him?
So I see that argument a lot of, if he's your number one guy, your ceiling's only so high, or you're not going to get out of the first round of playoffs if you're number one guy. He's your number one guy. Well, how is that Randall's fault? He's still playing really well. How about get a number one guy that's better than him?
Right. And then you have Randall. Randall's a great number two guy.
Right. Like most teams would say, like, hey, if we're not good enough to get out of the first round, let's improve the guys that aren't good on our team, as opposed to let's get rid of our best player.
Right, because if you get rid of your best player, and even if you replace him with somebody better, you're only marginally better. If you replace like one of your bad players with a really good player, easier said than done, but you're significantly better, which is why you also shouldn't punt on draft picks.
Yeah. It's funny about, I was going to say, Randall, he's the hardest guy to trade in the league because either he's too terrible to get traded or he's too good for the team to trade him.
Right.
And when he's too good, you can't get the value you'd want to get for him because he was terrible last year.
Yeah.
And when you want to trade him when he's really bad, you don't really want to trade him for a stack of potatoes because he was so good the year before.
Yeah. It's very strange career arc he's had.
The Knicks timeline, they have to basically be like, okay, we know Randall's gonna be terrible next year, but 2 years from now he's gonna be first team All NBA. We got to be ready for that.
Right. Randall's only good in odd years. Can we sign him to an every other year contract?
This is weird. I gotta go play in OKC next year, but I'll be back the following year. Yeah, it's a weird contract, but that's how we're still doing it. OKC wants to lose. They'll take the bad version of you.
Right.
He's been, I guess what if people? So my thought really is, if you want to trade Randall, what does that lead to? Because I also asked a question on Twitter, like if you want to trade Randall, like what do you think that accomplishes? And people were saying it makes the team better in the long run. How?
I think they've talked themselves into. I mean, you're kind of complimenting Randall if you believe this, that if you trade Randall away, you're going to be so bad you're going to get a top 5 pick, which would make the argument that Randall's really, really good if your team is that much worse without him. Wouldn't it?
I mean, the Knicks already have 20 wins. It's going to be really hard to have one of the bottom 5 records in the league at this point.
They would have to go like 5 for 35.
Right. You have to go have an historically bad stretch of games, which seems really unlikely with the other players on this team.
Yeah, well, it's Brunson, Randall, Grimes, like you're not going to go 5 for 35 even if Randall's out. So I really feel like you'd be trading him for another 10th or 11th pick that Rose will probably just punt on anyway.
You're hoping to sneak up to I guess last year the Knicks had 37 wins and they had the 11th pick.
Yeah.
So maybe you could sneak back down and get like the 8th pick, basically. Is that what you're trading Randall so we can get the 8th pick in the draft?
Well, if there's one thing I know, the Knicks have a great history with 8th picks.
Exactly. No problem. They'll never get that one wrong. It's also I find it crazy the Knicks fans are like, there's so many guys work out every year that are drafted. Like do the Knicks need to add an all-star? It'd be great. But what if the Knicks just like added in like 2 other guys who were just like very good? Would that make a big difference?
I would think so.
If you added 2 more let's just say you added 2 more Grimes level players to the bench.
Right. What if they were better than Hart and McBride?
Yeah, I mean, what if they just keep getting better? What if you build a whole roster of guys that are very good at basketball?
That's a crazy, insane theory.
I don't know if that gets you a title, but it gets you somewhere, right?
Well, I feel like if you did draft 2 guys like that, then you could say, all right, now the Knicks have 12 guys that deserve playing time. Then you could do a 2-for-1 trade, I would think.
Right, that's true. Yeah, if you draft, let's just say you draft like 2 or 3 other guys who end up being very good at basketball, you could trade 2-for-1, 3-for-1. You could find another way to get like an all-star because you have really good players to trade, as opposed to some like, hey, we've got 17 protected first-round picks that convey if the sun goes in front of the moon during.
Well, I mean, that's
solstice.
that's how Boston got their big 3. They had Pierce. They drafted a bunch of young guys, and they packaged a ton of them for Garnett and
Allen.
Allen.
I mean, I get you. I don't even remember who they traded for those guys. Was there anyone they traded that ended up being good on like Minnesota? Or
No. They had that big guy, that big man that they drafted, and then everyone thought he was going to be good, and he went to Minnesota and did nothing. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but like, yeah, it was. He was supposed to be good, and he never amounted to anything.
It's going to be hard for the Knicks to get a top 5 pick from here. So you have to. There are plenty of guys that end up being really good that are drafted later. I mean, you're starting Grimes, who's the 25th pick in the draft. You're starting Quickly, who was the 25th pick in the draft. Brunson was the 32nd pick in the draft. Robinson. Your whole team are guys who are late draft, except for Randall. Everyone else is drafted pretty late in the draft.
Al Jefferson.
Yeah, he was supposed to be good. He never really he never lived up to his.
It was a bunch of guys that never lived up. Gerald Green, Theo, Sebastian Telfair, and 2 firsts that didn't really do much either. So,
if the Al Jefferson was drafted by the Knicks, there'd still be like Al Jefferson stands who are like, if only the Knicks gave him that extra playing time in his first year, he would be in the Hall of Fame. There are still Jay and I were talking off the air. There are still Frank Ntilikina stands who are still obsessed with like, oh, I think Doncic's holding Frank back.
I can't.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But like I don't know the path for like. I know to at least get out of the first round. If the Knicks replace McBride with a guy that was as good as Grimes, maybe that would help do it. Like if you get better, the overall roster. I feel like just you have draft picks, keep drafting guys, and maybe you'll hit on some other picks.
Yeah, I mean that you got to you get as many draft picks as you can. You draft as many guys as you can. Maybe one of them is the next Jokic who got drafted in like the 2nd round. Like you never know.
I mean, one of them could be the next Donovan Mitchell who went later in the draft.
Or here's a crazy thought: what if he's better than RJ?
What if? But also like if you trade Julius Randle, get the 8th pick in the draft, what are the chances you get a guy who's going to put up 24 points a game, almost 10 rebounds, almost 4 assists on good shooting numbers?
Right.
Is there what are the chances of replacing Randall with a guy that's going to be as good?
Not very high.
But we have Obi Toppin. And Obi, if you didn't know, there were a couple games last year that didn't matter, and he went off. I swear, I watched those games. It did seem like the other team gave a shit about the game. It was a G League level game. I get Obi, Obi's fine, but he's never gonna put up what Randall does.
Right.
You watch Obi out there when the Knicks need a basket. Obi's like, we need a basket right now. Hope someone sets me up. I mean, Randall can go out and just get you the basket.
Yeah.
Obi's an exciting dunker. And his 3-point shot is league average. He's fine. I wonder how he fits in when he comes back. I mean, obviously he'll play because he's the backup power forward. But
yeah, I think Hart's out of the lineup.
You think Hart's out, not Sims, or?
I think it should be. Knowing Tibbs, it's going to be Sims, but I think it should be Hart.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this off air, but how much does? Or maybe we talked about this last show, but how much does Obi do that Sims doesn't do?
3-point shot, an average.
Yeah,
an average 3-point shot.
Yeah, How much does Stibbs do that Obi doesn't do?
Rebounding and defense.
Which is better on a Tibbs coach team? Which is more important?
I would say the rebounding and the defense. Yeah.
Stibbs seems to. I wonder if Obi's going to have that easy a time getting back in the lineup.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to just not go on Twitter anymore if Obi's out of the rotation. It's gonna be a mess.
I do also love people acting like there's like this whole free Obi movement. Just trade him because he needs to go start somewhere else and be the star he can. And you're like, I think he might go somewhere else and be on the bench also.
There is a rumor that the Knicks were listening to trade offers for Obi.
They should. They should probably move him. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world.
I don't even.
Here are 4 trade. Let me find this thing on. 4 trade proposals I saw. Someone posted them. Let me see what you think.
Oh, if these are the 4 I saw,
They're garbage. The Knicks get Karl Anthony Towns. Minnesota gets IQ, Fournier, RJ Barrett, and 4 first-round picks, plus a pick swap. Before you even ask whether the Knicks would do it, would Minnesota do it?
Yes. 4 Knicks.
Why?
4 Knicks first-round picks.
Yes, plus a pick swap.
Yeah, they do that.
Because they're in your mind, they're basically like, we screwed up this offseason. We need a reset.
Yeah. I mean, like, they're not that good. They thought Towns and what's his name, Patient Zero were going to be
Robert
Gobert.
Covington. Not Robert Gobert. Sorry.
They thought that was going to be like the big man lineup of the future. It doesn't seem to be working out. The team is way better when only one of them plays. And
Hey, Tibbs, I know your defense is your calling card. What if we could build our team around a guy who's really big who can't play defense? What do you think, Tibbs? So if you're the Knicks, are you doing this trade?
no,
Not a shot.
No.
All these first round draft
way
picks
too
and
many picks. You probably could have talked me into that like a few years ago when Towns was like putting up crazy numbers and we didn't realize how bad he was on defense.
right. It's also, I mean, like it's gonna be a weird fit. You have, I guess Randall would start next to Towns because you just wouldn't have Towns would have to be your center, right? Because you're not starting Mitch next to him also.
Right. Yeah, and you can't put Towns on the bench, so you just have like a bad defensive starting lineup.
It's just getting worse in defense. Okay, the next one.
Yeah, that fit is like really bad. Can't move
Emmanuel
Mitch to the bench.
quickly, Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, and 3 first-round picks plus a pick swap for Zach LaVine.
No.
By the way, the account was Jessica Emmanuel on Twitter. I just saw this. I thought we'd. So Zach LaVine, on a positive, LaVine is quite a shooter.
He is. Brings a lot of offensive punch.
He's injured a lot.
Plays
he's
like
quite a shooter.
50 games a season for like his career.
If you believe he's going to be healthy for some reason,
That's your team. He makes $37 million a year, so he's got like 3 years left on his contract, I think.
how good would this team be if you have Zach LaVine out there starting next to Brunson? I mean, losing IQ, Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose is not crazy. Those players aren't crazy for him.
Mm-hmm.
You lose 3 first-round picks. If you believe LaVine's going to be healthy, LaVine, Brunson, it's not a bad backcourt.
It's a good backcourt, but like between his contract and his injury history, that's way too risky.
Well, you're going to be over the cap either way. So like, it's an upgrade, don't you think, in some level? It's definitely an upgrade. Like your offense looks better.
Yeah. I mean, if you're saying like, is he better than Grimes? Like,
Well, I think you could start Grimes. You still have to start Grimes. I mean, you can start Grimes at the 3, I guess. Well, RJ's still on the team, so.
so you're benching RJ or Grimes.
Right. I mean, maybe you bench RJ. You just say RJ's better with the second unit. We're gonna have Levine's like we need some defense in the first unit, so we're gonna leave Grimes out there, and we're gonna put RJ on the bench, and where team just looks overall a lot better because you have more scoring power. You have a guy who can get shots for you.
The team's better, but I don't. To me, it just has getting an injury-prone player who's nearing his 30s. We've seen it so many times. It never ends well for the Knicks.
the injury risk is really what scares me there. Okay, the next one. If you like bad contracts and injury history, then you're gonna love Bradley Beal for the same deal, basically the same guys and 3 first-round picks.
So to get Bradley Beal a year after he peaked.
Yes, you get him as he's falling down the mountain. You grab him.
Yeah.
$50 million a year or whatever his contract is. He's one of the highest paid players in the NBA.
Yeah.
This one seems insane to me.
This is another one where like 2 years ago I could have been talked into it, but not now.
Okay, last one. Obi Toppin for James Johnson, Trevor Lynn Queen, 2023 first round pick, which but it'd be either Boston or Cleveland's pick, whichever is higher.
So like the 25th.
Whichever's the better pick. I know nothing about James Johnson or Trevor Lynn Queen. I don't think they play many minutes for the Pacers. Do you know anything about them?
I think you made up Trevor Lynn Queen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just reading it off of this thing. I've not heard these. I don't know these. I don't know Trevor Lynn Queen. He may not exist. But basically, so would you trade Obi Toppin for a late first round pick? That's really the question. If you're the Pacers, you may just do this because you're like, hey, Obi Toppin's got some potential. And we got a great point guard who the Knicks were dumb enough not to draft, who can throw him lobs.
Is that the best you can do? I mean, James Johnson's been around forever. He's 35.
Forget the players. Let's say they're filler. It's basically for that first round pick. Do you trade Obi for a late first round pick? Is that where his value is?
That probably is where his value is. As much as we don't want to hear it, that's probably what his value is.
There was a revised trade where it was, instead of those 2 players, it was Chris Duarte and the first round pick, which I would do that. If it was Chris Duarte and the first round pick, I would do that. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But do you think you're gonna what do you think you're gonna get for Toppin? Where's his value right now? Do other teams think he has all-star potential, or like he's gonna be this really great player that just needs to be unlocked?
I don't think so, because I think we would have heard of a bunch of trade offers being thrown around, because other teams have to see he's not getting a lot of minutes, so they would probably try and pick him up if they thought that. That's also the Cam theory. Like, if he was that good, there would be a lot of trade offers.
I mean, like Cam, I think if you're giving him away for free, a lot of teams would for free, totally.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a first round pick would not be a bad return for Toppin.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a crazy thing to ask. The hope is that you can convince a team that, instead of convincing a team that's like I'd rather have the Pacers pick, or maybe you can convince like Detroit that you're like, hey, Detroit, he could be another guy that can help make your team better, and we can have a better draft pick for him.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe OKC, like, you have so many first round picks. Can you just waste one on us? That's a decent one.
Right. Yeah.
Also, the other thing I thought was interesting, I saw Drew Hanlon. You know who he is? He's like an NBA shooting trainer that works with some star players, and he works with RJ. He said, we made a tweak to his shot December 5th. In the 10-game stints, then he's averaging 25, 6, and 3 while shooting 47, 45, 73. Needs to keep the efficiency up at rim and behind 3. Next step is creating off the bounce. That's the key to taking the next step. And RJ's numbers in December are awesome.
Yeah.
I wish he was healthy now, but he'll be back soon. What do you think? What do you think? You think he'll be good the rest of the season? Maybe they like.
So he's saying he fixed RJ's shot.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. We figured out his shot, and now RJ's gonna be better the rest of the season.
I mean, that would be amazing if that was the case.
He's done this every year. Every year, well, not last year as much. The year before, where like he was terrible for a while, and then like January on, he was like awesome.
Yeah. You can't have a guy not being good for like the first 30 games of the season, though. That's every year.
Right, but we can cut it down to next year. He'll be like not good for the first 28 games. He'll be fine.
I feel like that's not. I'm happy with the second half, but you can't suck the first half of the season every year.
I don't know why he sucks the first half, but like he's still pretty young. Like either way, he's looked a lot better in December before his finger got cut off.
Yeah, by himself.
But are we gonna find out soon that his finger had to be like sewn back on?
I mean, I don't know. Such a weird fluke thing to like cut yourself like that.
So I just like on Twitter the other day, I just clicked on someone's like Spaces, and they were talking Knicks. I turn it on, and I hear a guy be like, "Hey, I don't think RJ's fingers really cut. I'm not gonna be a conspiracy theorist, but I think." And then he took a while to get to whatever he was saying, and I never really heard what the conspiracy was because they started talking about something else for like 10 minutes. And I had to I can't stay here and find out what the conspiracy is, but So anyway, there's people out there that don't actually believe RJ's fingers cut.
Why? It was on camera. They showed a close up of it.
I kept waiting to hear what this guy's explanation was, and I was like, I gotta get off this Spaces. I can't do this.
God. I don't know.
We got some questions today.
All right. Before we get to the questions, the NFL playoff picture is locked in, and my go-to for wild card action is DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off the road to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can get the no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. Action's so good, why bet NFL playoffs anywhere else? So that's like a really good deal, actually.
It's an amazing deal.
Yeah. I don't usually bet on NFL, but no sweat bet. Why not? Download DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code NYKP. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, code NYKP. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
On Facebook, is that it?
Yep.
Okay, it's a great deal. Everyone should do it. Just gamble. It makes life. What are you going to need the money in the future? Come on, climate change is going to kill us all. Spend the money now. Al writes, what would you like to get in return for Obi Toppin for you to think it's worthwhile in the trade? I just said I'd like at least a first round pick. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, that's fine. I would say, I don't think you're going to get anything higher than like 20th. Right?
Yeah,
that's fair.
I see people say like, I'd really like to get another really good 3-and-D player for Obi. Yeah, that's great, but what do you think we're actually going to get for him?
Right.
I'd really like a Lamborghini, and could they just give me $1 million? Yeah. So to me, or I guess if you found another player on a team that where like they have an excess number of guards or something like that, where like someone's being held back, say, I would do that swap. I don't know anyone. I don't have a name in particular in mind. Do you have anyone you can think of?
No, not offhand.
Yeah. What if Golden State's like, we'll give you we're done with Wiseman. We'll give you Wiseman. You give us Obi, and we want 2 of your protected first round picks.
You think Wiseman has that much value?
Yeah, I don't know either. He's got some value though. Okay, how about Wiseman? Wiseman for OB plus the protected.
Wiseman will be straight up.
I don't think that. I feel like Golden State's going to want more for Wiseman.
Wiseman was in the G League like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but that was his. He said, "I want to go to the G League so I can develop." He's got a lot. His tool set's pretty big.
Is it?
I don't know. That sounded really weird. Also, I meant he's got a lot of skills. His tool set being really big, so that's just like not what I want to say.
So he's he's been absolutely terrible.
He's been terrible. He did not look good when the Knicks played Golden State. Would you? Okay, what if they said we want Obi and Sims?
Absolutely not. Sims is way better than Wiseman right now.
That's true. He definitely adds more. Okay, fine, whatever. We don't need to. Okay, so base Knicks fan writes, didn't one of you say IQ wasn't a starting quality point guard? That was me. I still What do you think, Jay? Is he a start? Is he starting level point guard?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, the Dallas game where he got 15 assists. To be fair, I think 11 of those assists were in the first half, so he only got like four more the rest of the game. He shot 5 for 21. He was not awesome in the Dallas game. He was awesome in the first half. He was pretty bad afterwards.
He has, like we said before, he has good playmaking skills, but everyone can go off for a game or two. I don't think he can consistently do that. I think he's great as like a first or second guy off the bench, but I don't think he's a starting level point guard.
He's been more efficient lately, and lately I mean the last 3 games. If he keep this up, then I think he's a solid bench. He's a solid, like, one of the first guys off your bench. That might be his. I just don't think he's a starter, but he's looked pretty good as of late.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. That's not saying he's terrible.
No, he's a good player. I like him. I don't want the Knicks to get. I do. Whereas I'm open to trading Obi, I'm not trading IQ unless I get something decent back for him. Like, I think IQ has been like a good member of this team.
Yeah.
He just there's some issues. Like, if you're watching IQ play, one of the things is that like if you get in the ball down, like sometimes he gets the ball like and he just sees the defenders and just passes back out.
Mm-hmm.
Too often, like, he feels like he has trouble getting his shot off.
Right. Yeah.
I've noticed lately, like the last couple games, he's been standing more in the corner or just like waiting for like a guy to like just like randomly get in the ball so he shoots a 3. And that's almost a better role for him in some ways. Not that I want him in the corner the whole time, but like catch and shoot though, he could be a pretty good catch and shoot 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to like utilize him more in those kind of role. And I don't. Do you see him sometimes get frustrated with how much he dribbles the ball?
A little bit. I get more frustrated that he still tries to take like Steph Curry threes when he's not Steph Curry.
Yeah, I feel like his efficiency is still not great. I don't want him shooting 20 shots. Like, I understand the Knicks were shorthanded, so fine. But without the Knicks being shorthanded, I don't want him shooting 20 shots a game. He's just not that player.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think he's done nothing to convince you he's a starter, Jay.
No, I don't think on a consistent basis. I think he's a good bench player. I don't think he's. I just don't think so.
Okay. Are you glad we have him on the team?
Yeah, I'm fine with him. If he was our starter, I would not be happy.
I like him, but it's also not crazy to me that the Knicks could draft someone who could like take his job. Like you can improve on IQ.
Right. Yeah.
Frank writes, "Can we get a beast report?" Dude, do you have it queued up, Jay?
Wow, that was a blast from the past. Who was the Beast Report?
I don't remember who the beast report was.
Was it Crowder?
No, I don't think it was Crowder. But I remember the thing. It was like, "Get ready."
Was it Fareed?
It might have been Fareed. And I forget the joke. Maybe it was someone else. I forget. The joke was basically, for anyone that doesn't know what this was, I forget who it was. It was just a player that we didn't think that highly of. And one fan was like, "He's a beast. Like, he's awesome. He's a beast." And so we kept reporting his beast-like stats, which were terrible.
Yeah, it was always like, 6 points and 3 rebounds.
Yeah.
So we're like, what a beast.
6 points, 3 rebounds. The beast. Okay, so do the Knicks have anyone that would fit? Anyone we played recently that would fit a beast report?
I feel like it was Jay Crowder.
I don't think it's Jay Crowder, but the Phoenix. You know who's been overrated is Landry Shamet. Can we do the beast report about him? Shamet.
Yeah, he's been not good.
Landry Shamet, 2 for 9 with 6 points and 2 assists and 6 rebounds. Landry Shamet. I don't even know. This was funnier when we did it years ago. You know who was a beast today? Chris Paul. Chris Paul must be just like, he only shot 2 free throws today. He must be losing his mind.
Yeah.
He was a -38.
Oof. That's rough.
He did not look very good. He didn't have one side-to-side foul swipe foul. He must be, guys, put your hands on me. Just touch me. Come on, touch me. Come on, come on. I want to my side to side. It is amazing to hear a coach who coaches the Suns complain about fouls, the other team getting fouls, when he coaches Chris Paul.
I know. Well, and Crowder and Booker, they all flop.
Well, they don't have Crowder anymore. They have Crowder, but he just refuses to play.
Yeah.
What if they did, who were we just trying to figure out a trade for? Well, I guess, would you trade for Jay Crowder, I guess? Forgetting who you trade for. Would you trade for Jay Crowder?
No.
Why not? Jay Crowder plays good defense.
Yeah, but he's sitting out because he wants to start. Is he better than any of the Knicks starters?
No, I don't want him starting. But maybe there are other reasons. He claims that's not the reason. He just doesn't want to play for the Suns anymore.
He's full of crap. They told him he was going to go on the bench for, I forgot his name, but
what if it was Cam Reddish for Crowder? Did you do that?
Okay. No, I don't.
And what if you can talk Crowder into just coming off the bench? But it's just for the rest of the season.
Sure.
I mean, Knicks he would be an upgrade on the Knicks on their bench.
Yeah, I don't see him like being cool with that at all.
What if we traded one malcontent for another malcontent?
Right.
That would be awesome. Frank writes, I still see people bashing Randall. What's wrong with these people? Did they not get enough hugs from their mom when they were young?
We did not write this question.
It's weird for fans to be chanting MVP and other fans being like, trade the MVP. Trade the MVP.
Oh, I found it.
You found what?
Get ready for
Taylor's oldest time.
the Beast Report.
The
You know
meow
who
makes
he-
me laugh every time.
What is Kevin Knox doing lately? Because I remember recently people were like, Kevin Knox, he put up 2 points in a game. How did the Knicks trade him? So what has Knox been doing lately?
Well, he had those 2 good games in November, and everyone was like, "See, traded him too quickly."
Yes. He had 2 good games in November. People were like, holy crap, how did you trade him? So he got, in his last game, Knox, who is a beast, got a DNP.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he's not that, maybe we didn't miss out.
Well, he did have 15 points and 10 rebounds. Oh, that's his last 6 games combined.
Yeah, he hasn't been so his last games are 5 points, 3 points, 0 points, 5 points, 2 points, 9 points, 9, 7, 17. When he hit 17 points, people were like, oh my God, the Knicks, see another guy the Knicks did not develop.
Yeah.
Maybe Knox is just not that good at basketball. Or not that good basically at NBA basketball at least.
It's possible.
It's possible. We have emails, Jay.
We have an email from Jonathan. The way Randall, Barrett, and Brunson are playing, I don't want to make a trade for any of them. That leaves us with IQ, Grimes, Obi, and Picks as the only good assets we have. Realistically speaking, what trade can we do to be a better team?
I think the trade is going to be heavily Picks to make the team better. And you really need to be sure this guy is going to help make us a contender, which is really – because or else you're really eliminating your best path to, like, developing players is draft picks. If you're going to eliminate that, you have to – like, I understand Cleveland doing that with Donovan Mitchell. I don't know who's going to be available. Like, Jay, what malcontents are going to be available soon? Any ideas?
I mean, Harden's almost ready for his annual I want to go to a different team shenanigans.
Which would be horrible.
He's already hinting he wants to go back to Houston.
Yeah. Do you think? I don't think Doncic is leaving Dallas anytime soon. Even though Dallas is like, Doncic, what if we can get more ex-Knicks on the team? What do you think? There's so many ex-Knicks on that team. It's so absurd.
They're so afraid of him going to the Knicks. They're just like, we'll just bring the Knicks here.
It really is. He's like, it's weird. Why does the stadium here in Dallas now say MSG? Please stay. Please don't leave.
It's
Mark Cuban joins a band just to like keep him here.
It's going to be really hard. I think any moves this season are going to be very peripheral. Yeah, you might see Cam or even Obi for like protected picks or another like guy who's not going to play. But I don't see a big move this season. I wouldn't mind seeing guys who aren't playing, get them for draft picks, and just draft as many guys as you can, and see what happens.
Yeah, just go to like try to keep developing players and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Maybe you hit on some like guys who are there end up being a lot of good players that are drafted outside of the top 10 picks. Maybe you nail some other picks.
There's one or two every single year.
Yeah, if you look at the teams though, like the guys that are like going to be potentially available, you have guys like I guess a Harden. You don't want a Harden. Do you want? Let's say the Atlanta decides to blow it up. The chance of them blowing up and trading Trey are pretty unlikely. But do you want Trey on this team? Is that the guy you want to go all in for?
No, I don't think so.
The John Collins. You want to go for Collins with the Wizards? Like, you want to try to bring KP back here? Do you really want to get Bradley Beal? The Bulls, Zach LaVine. Are you gonna go all in for him? The Raptors. There's some talk they would trade OG. But you have to trade a bunch of draft picks for him. Do you really want to do that? Do you want to trade for a broken Gordon Hayward? Like, there aren't that many guys that are like obvious guys. Like Towns, you really want to try for trade for Towns? I mean, by the way, Minnesota is 16-21 after trading a small fortune to get Gobert.
Yeah, that's really
the
bad.
best part is Utah is one game better than them, or half game. They're 2 games better than them right now. Utah's like, let's tank, and Minnesota's like, we'll be worse than you.
Crazy.
What if the Lakers will give you LeBron for a bunch of draft picks? Would you do that?
No, because then what are you getting? Like 1 year of LeBron, and you have to like.
Let's say you're getting 2 years. You're getting the rest of the season and all next year, and then he'll break down from there
for like
let's say
all the decade, like all your draft picks for the rest of the decade.
Well, you can only trade so many picks. So let's say you trade 4 Knicks first. Let's say you give him a king's ransom. You get 4 Knicks
my answer is no.
first.
My answer is no.
Well, what do you think LeBron does? If you get LeBron, are you a contender with this Knicks team? And he's starting, obviously. We're not LeBron. Someone else will go to the bench. LeBron's starting.
You really gonna put Grimes or RJ to the bench?
I think for LeBron James,
I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
Okay.
I'm predicting.
I thought you were out of your
tweets. Like, I can't believe you're benching RJ.
You'll
22.
figure out how to play. LeBron is still putting up awesome numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely lost to Steph, but he's still one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
The Lakers should trade LeBron. It is crazy. By the way, I think LeBron, according to his contract, can't be traded until the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lakers should move LeBron, right? Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. You're not really trying to compete with LeBron anymore. The team's terrible, and you're not willing to trade your draft picks to get anyone better. Like, what are you doing at the Lakers?
Right.
You're wasting
selling tickets.
Yeah, you're selling tickets. Yes, you are. But like, you're wasting you could just do the rebuild at this point. You got a title with him. Should the Lakers move on?
They should either do that or they should trade their 2 remaining draft picks and try and do something this season.
One of those 2 things.
Yeah.
They should definitely do one of those 2 things. But let's say in the offseason, the Lakers will give you LeBron. You get next year, you think he'll be good. The year after, who knows? He is a freak. How much better is this team with LeBron? Are you a contender? Like, how good is the team?
Probably, yeah. I mean, that's a significant upgrade over RJ.
Yeah, I mean, you're really getting in a guy like it would be funny if the Knicks finally get LeBron when he's 100 years old.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do any kind of start, what would you rather get? Donovan Mitchell or LeBron?
Donovan Mitchell.
Fine. But what gives you a better chance of actually winning the title?
Probably Donovan Mitchell. I mean, you have at least you have 4 or 5 years. Like LeBron, if you don't win immediately, it's over.
Well, I agree with you that you have to win immediately, but I think LeBron gives you the better chance of the title.
Maybe. Anyway, we're running long.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on, real quick. Evan Wright wrote on Instagram that they wouldn't know the real story of why Tibbs won't play Cam. He even played Fournier the past 2 games and still won't play him despite all the injuries. And the reason is he is saving Cams for the finals.
It has to be that somebody from his camp requested a trade. That's the only explanation.
I'm sure he basically just said, like, I don't want to be. If you don't, whatever happened. We don't know.
Because you hinted his defense was bad, but like Fournier's is clearly not good. So like it can't be just that.
I have to think that like he basically said either start me or trade me, and they're like, we'll trade you. Fine, we're just because that's what he did in Atlanta. That was in Atlanta. Basically, he wanted a bigger role, and the Hawks were just like, "What are you crazy? We're playing you like 25 minutes a game, and you're like, you have other guys that are just better than you. We'll trade you. It's fine."
Yeah.
I think he's got to be a mouth to 10. The Knicks are just like, fine, you don't want to be here. You're a role player. We'll just trade you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are NY Knicks Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com is our email. We will be doing our comedy show, The Brink of Sanity, soon. brinkofsanityshow.com. You can join the chat on Twitch, twitch.tv/crumpledbacon, or YouTube, youtube.com/TITOWAJ. Links to our Discord are all over there on all those sites, so you can join our Discord. And our newsletter is coming out soon. thebrinkofsanity.substack.com. You can subscribe now. We're launching in February.
We will post links to it, and we are launching in February, probably.
All right. So, yeah, thanks for joining, and we'll be back soon.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, 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 everybody.
All right.
All right. Someone wanted to do a collaborate on an article. Can we post an article for a betting site?
We can when we're done with DraftKings. So you can
When's
tell them like next month.